U-turns are often a wonderful thing. And there are two types of U-turn. There is the U-turn in which you just didn't know. Maybe you didn't know certain things, certain facts, certain information, and so upon receiving that information, you perform a U-turn. That, ladies and gentlemen, I will not, if anyone ever makes that U-turn, I don't blame them. They didn't have the information at hand. Maybe they were misinformed about something. Maybe they got something wrong. As far as I'm concerned, someone making a correction U-turn because of information that they didn't have at the time, as far as I'm concerned, that is not a problem. Good for them for at least acknowledging that they were wrong and that they needed to take that U-turn. The other type of U-turn that we have seen is when, inexplicably, as we have seen plenty of times by this government, who have still, at this moment, still managing to rack up a U-turn of at least one a month, which is unbelievable. So they are essentially, this is the course of action we are going to take, and then, upon meeting very stiff resistance, not only from their own MPs, but essentially the public at large, essentially without any warning or reason why they're making this U-turn, they've just doubled back. We saw this recently with Boris and the Marcus Rushford feeding children incident. You know, there have been many others throughout this year, but this is a classic example of a business that has now performing its own U-turn. And I say business because many businesses, there were some that were in favour initially for Brexit because they didn't know or have all the information, or, as we've said before, had been willfully misinformed by the Brexiteers. So, this comes from the Yorkshire bylines, and this really goes into the heart because there are going to be many businesses who think that they are somehow immune to Brexit. Well, this shows that what we always go and say, that there will be unforeseen consequences on many things in the UK, and not just businesses, but many things in the UK that will have consequences because of Brexit. So, this comes from the Yorkshire bylines, and it is folding bike maker Brompton performs Brexit U-turn. So, Brexit is going to impact UK industries in ways never foreseen when the referendum took place in sectors thought to be entirely immune. The folding bike maker, Brompton, now appears to be one of the companies potentially at serious risk. Although not an ardent Brexit supporter 3 years ago, the managing director, Will Butler-Adams, bemoaned the momentum of fear surrounding Brexit and told the Daily Mail that firms would be able to cope if Britain left the European Union without a trade deal. In sight of how senior figures in the industry have failed to understand the ramifications of leaving the single market, Butler-Adams said, "The debate about Brexit is massively overrated. The half of the problem is that we're spending too much time debating, in that we're creating a momentum of fear. I don't see Brexit as a massive disaster. Personally, I'm rather sad we're leaving, but crucially, we'll get on with it." But now, the Department for International Trade has announced that from January, it intends to drop the trade defence countermeasures that the EU has in place against China and other countries, which apply tariffs of up to 48.5% on bicycles that Brussels deems being sold at below cost or even just dumped onto the mainland. So, the Department for International Trade says that after January, it will only maintain EU anti-dumping rules if domestic producers make more than 1% of the local market for a good. It claims that British-made bikes don't meet that criteria. Remember, this is 8 weeks before the transition period ends. Mr. Butler-Adams has now told Bloomberg this: "We've got coronavirus, we've got Brexit, and we need as a nation to be supporting industries that have potential to grow. This is a fantastic opportunity in cycling, if you would have thought the government would support it and the nature of that industry. Last year, the Secretary General for the European Bicycle Manufacturers Association, Mamero Fantoni, welcomed the EU decision to maintain the anti-dumping measures and said, "Without a level playing field, Chinese exporting producers will flood the EU market with dumped bicycles and rapidly drive the EU industry out of the market, which has already happened in the USA and Japan." Instead of supporting and nurturing the domestic bicycle industry, the UK government seems set on wiping it out. And it's not only the Chinese bicycle imports the UK needs to worry about. The EU has also extended measures to Indonesia, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Tunisia, Cambodia, Pakistan, and the Philippines. And whether declaring it as originating in Indonesia, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and Tunisia or not, these countries will too be able to import bikes into the UK tariff-free from January the 1st. Next year, it may be a difficult one for Mr. Butler Adams at Brompton. Plenty of other manufacturers in the bicycles and other industries who, for over years, have complained that the EU is a protectionist racket, and they may soon find out why. So, yeah, absolutely incredible there. But this is what's going to happen. You're going to see stuff like this happen. This is a serious problem. This is why you saw, he's right at the end of that article that some of the manufacturers did complain about the EU being this protectionist market. We're about to find out exactly why. And believe it or not, Europeans and the UK businesses have benefited from that protectionism. Well, guess what? We're now on the other side of that fence. And, well, the gates open for the time being so that we can still enjoy it while it lasts for the last couple of months, shall we say. But sooner or later, that gate's going to close, and that will have huge problems, because all of a sudden there will be a massive tsunami of very cheap manufactured product and goods, ranging from everything you can possibly think of, that will just flood the UK and will just pretty much eliminate the UK manufacturing market in those areas. And that will be hundreds of thousands of jobs gone. And that will be a huge, serious problem. But, it's not like this is something we were talking about for at least the past 4.5 years. So, yeah, this is going to be an absolute catastrophe for them. But it's to no surprise that, a Brexiteer company, well, not an ardent Brexiteer, but, bemoaning the fact of, oh, the EU's terrible, and then they now get to experience what the world is like without being in the EU. And trust me, I think very quickly we are going to see a lot of businesses saying that it was better when we were in the EU. So, before we go, we'll see you next time.